Before we get started with the video today, guys, I want to let you viewers out there know that only a small fraction of you guys currently watching are actually subscribed to my channel, so make sure to smash that subscribe button for instant updates about videos that I release and other announcements, and also smash that like button to help my channel out. Enjoy the video. Welcome back, guys, to another one of my Shijupu videos. Today I'm going to be talking about the new 2 banners that are coming right after the ReZero collab banners end, which, by the way, guys, if you didn't know, the ReZero banners are ending in approximately 2 hours from this video recording. So make sure you guys pull these units if you can. Amelia's very powerful. Rem is also very powerful. Lilibet and also went in 2 hours, but she is an easy skip. If you guys saw my last video, I said that she's not that great, and yeah, she's not that good, so don't worry too much about her. Now let's get started. I'm going to go over the 2 new banner units. It's going to be Baal and Sezan and Cermia, and I will get started with Baal and Sezan. Now, Baal and Sezan is a fire mage. He is mostly only going to be primarily used in PvE. I don't think he is ever used in PvP at all. In PvP, I guess you could use him as a control unit with his defense down and speed down, but for the most part, his debuffs are not very good for PvP. These debuffs, defense down, speed down, unhealable is okay for PvP, but defense down, speed down, and like poison, mostly centralized around PvE usage, so he will be primarily a PvE unit. Now, he's also available from the selective summon, but most people don't actually choose him because there are better options in Sigrid, Ravi, Iseria, and even now Charlotte with her buffs. So yeah, people don't really take him from selective summon anymore, and he's pretty overlooked, mostly because of his appearance as well. He looks kind of scary looking, but I don't really mind it. I think he's very underrated, and I'll tell you guys why. So going over his skills, you'll see his S3 is an AoE attack. You guys probably saw it earlier. It is unhealable, decreased defense, and decreased speed, so it's 3 debuffs. And if you max Mole it, it'll go to 85% chance, and it is a 2-turn AoE attack. So this is really good for PvE because you can AoE defense break, and even on bosses, the defense break chance is pretty high, and it's 2 turns long. And the decreased speed makes it so your defense break will stick longer because, yeah, the boss just has less speed to cycle and remove the decreased defense debuff. The unhealable is okay for some bosses that have healing mechanics. For the most part, you're not going to really focus too much on that. So yeah, pretty decent S3, yeah, just very nice for PvE content. Now his S2 is going to be just an AoE attack that scales proportional to the number of debuffs on the enemy, and when you kill an enemy with this, it actually will reset the cooldown. So it makes him okay in dog walking because he has spammable AoE skills. His S3 is AoE, and then he has 2 AoEs, right? So he has 2 AoE skills, so he can one-shot the first wave and second wave, and the third wave he can also S2 again after he kills the second wave with this because it resets, and kill the adds around the boss, so the turns don't take as long. And this is a very short cooldown as well. It is 2 turns, so even if you don't kill with this when you're fighting bosses, it comes out a lot. So bosses that have multiple adds, he's very strong at clearing them. Also, this doesn't have any debuffs, so you can pretty much spam this against bosses that have a debuff cap, and just don't use your S3. Even though it is a really good skill against bosses that have a debuff cap, you won't be able to use this because there are 3 debuffs, and most bosses will cap at 2 or 3 debuffs. So yeah, S2 is a very powerful skill for just AoEing. It is pretty basic, but it actually does a pretty decent amount of damage. Now his S1 is going to be a weird S1 because most basic attacks are single target, right, or AoE. Well, this one is kind of like Vildred and Caesarata, where it is a 2 attack or 2 target attack S1. And also on top of that, there is a chance to poison. So poison is very strong in PvE because you'll see on the right here, poison does damage scaling with the enemy or the target's max HP. So against bosses that have like 200k HP, if 1 tick of your poison procs, you're doing like 10k damage. And if you stack 2 stacks of poison, it'll be 10k damage, just dot damage, or damage over time. So it's very strong, and also the damage on this is pretty nice, and it's actually very good for bosses that have adds as well. Notably, basically all the Hell Raid bosses, right, they have a lot of adds. You could basically just bring Baal and Sezan as an AoE damage dealer, and for the first 4 bosses, he's very strong in them because 1, the bosses don't have a debuff cap, so you can actually just use S3 at will, and your S1 poison won't matter. And also, you're going to have to either break some bosses out of stealth or kill their adds, and so forth. So yeah, but for Queen though, not that great because unless you just don't S3 at all, because there is a debuff cap on the Queen, so you have to be careful about bringing Baal. Now he's also very good in Earth Expedition. He's a very premier DPS for Earth Expedition, if not one of the best. I think he's tied with Bomb Girl Kana, or Bomb Model Kana, whatever her name is. And yeah, they're both very strong. You can even pair them together. So this guy is a very strong PvE unit. And let's look at his imprints real quick. So he has an effectiveness imprint, which is pretty nice actually for PvE. So effectiveness imprint is pretty cool because you don't have to run an effectiveness ring on him anymore. You can just run the imprint if you get lucky enough to pull multiple, or you could even buff your team with it, and yeah, it'll make you easier, make you more easily reach the effectiveness cap of 65% for some basic bosses, and for 80% for like expedition and so forth. So let's look at his skills real quick, just to go over. You'll see that is S3, AoE attack, and because the chance is not 100%, you'll see that it did not land all 3 debuffs on all 3 enemies. So yeah, just keep in mind there is RNG to this. You might get unlucky and not land any of them sometimes on all the enemies, so just be careful. Short animation on S3 though. S2 can be soul burn as well for more damage. AoE attack, also very fast animation, so it'll make him very, very strong for dog walking because his animations are really quick. And his S1, basic attack on 2 targets. Poison got resisted as well because the chance is low, but it'll go up to 50% Weemul, and that's pretty much his skills. For Baal and Sezan, I'd say that he is good for PvE. So if you're struggling early mid game with like some hell bosses, need an AoE attacker, and you don't have an Earth Expedition DPS, he's good to pull. But just keep in mind Seaside Iseria or Summertime Iseria is coming out soon, so if you don't have the bookmarks for her, I'd say easy skip on Baal and Sezan. He's nothing great in PvP, and in PvE he is replaceable. The only place he's not replaceable is Earth Expedition, but you can still use like Tenebria and Bomb Girl Kana, and they do the job just as well, if not just slightly worse. So yeah, easy skip for me unless you guys either really love him or want the PvE DPS power in him. So for his artifact, we're going over Last Teatime. So Last Teatime is not really good of an artifact. It's only really ever used on Caesarado. Caesarado uses it well, but the thing is with Caesarado, even if you like using him and have him, he can use like Proof of Valor, he can use I Love Violin, he can use a lot of other good artifacts, because mages have a lot of good artifacts. So just because of that, like I wouldn't really pull on this artifact at all. You should never really pull on banners or artifacts, by the way. But from the Powder of Knowledge shop, I wouldn't even buy this one. Unless you really want it for your Caesarado. It's only really ever used on him, like I said. But yeah, that artifact is pretty weak. For a mage artifact, like you need to be like very, very good. Or it needs to be very, very good, because mages have a lot of competition for good artifacts. So this artifact, Last Teatime, easy skip for me. And that's pretty much it for Baal and Sezan and his artifact. Now let's get into the next unit, Cermia. So Cermia is a very, very strong single target nuclear unit. In PvE, she's only ever really used in Golem, and in PvP, she's used a lot in Guild Wars offense, sometimes used in Arena offense, and very rarely in RTA. So she's a fire warrior, so warriors have pretty weak artifacts. You're going to want to run like Draco Plate on her or her own artifact, which I'll go over in a second. But you'll see right away her S3 going over skills. It is a penetrate defense attack, so you don't need to bring a defense break with her. And if you soul burn it, it does more damage, and it'll pretty much one-shot basically anyone in the game if you have an attack buff or greater attack buff on. So very, very powerful single target nuke. It has a crazy ratio, and if you look at her stats, her base attack is very, very high. So she actually does a crazy amount of damage, and she also has a crit chance awakening, so it's pretty easy to gear her. All you need is attack, crit chance, and crit damage. Now her S2 is going to be a reset of your S3 cooldown, so you want to use your S3 first at the beginning of the battle, and the next turn you S2 to get the reset cooldown, and you get an extra turn, and it'll give you greater attack buff, making your S3 very, very strong. So at the start of the battle, you can actually S2 into S3 for the greater attack buff, but what most people do is they run A-lots with her, auxiliary lots, and what happens is auxiliary lots goes first, built very fast. He pushes the 0 speed Cermia, or somewhat 0 speed Cermia, and then Cermia will get attack buff and push to the front, and then she S3s with the soul burn. And the reason why you can soul burn right away is because Alos is a mage, and he will hold a Tagahel's Ancient Book, which is his best artifact, and it is easy to get because it is 4-star. So you get 20 souls at the start of battle. If it's maxed out, you get to soul burn this once, and then the next time Cermia's turn comes around, you can actually S2, get the greater attack buff, and then S3 soul burn another time. So that's why she's very, very strong in Guild Wars. She can delete 2 units if she gets a turn cycle off. She's okay in Arena because of the same reason, but Arena has an extra unit in it, right? It's 4v4 instead of 3v3. So just 4v2 is a little harder to win than a 3v1, just statistically. So just be careful. She's very top tier in Guild Wars offense, though, if you like to bring like single target nukers. And if you're lacking one for Guild Wars offense, then she's a good unit for that. Now her S1 is pretty basic. It is just a attack that has a chance to make the target unhealable. You don't really ever use this much because she's kind of like a 1 and done or 2 and done hero in her S2 and S3. You're just going to one-shot 2 units or 1 unit depending on the situation. And your S1 is kind of just there for filler. You're just using it to clean up the end of the fight. But it still does crazy amount of damage. The scaling on this and the ratios on this is pretty good. So don't underestimate her S1 damage. Now her imprint is going to be crit chance for her team. Not really too useful, even though crit chance imprints are very strong, because she's going to be primarily like the only DPS on your team with 2 CR pushers or supports. So you're not going to want to use this. You're instead going to want to use her imprint concentration, which will give her more attack, giving her more one-shot potential, because that is what she's designed to do, just one-shot. So yeah, she's a very, very fun unit. In terms of viability, I'd say she's pretty good. Now let's go over her skills real quick. So her skills look pretty cool. You heard that sword sound unsheathing. It sounds pretty decent as well. So we'll see her S3. It is a dragon. Pretty cool, pretty fast animation. S2. You see that it gives her another turn and gives us greater attack buff. And then her S1 is a very nice down slash. So that's it for her skills. Yeah, very, very strong for Guild Wars offense and pretty okay for arena offense. It's hard to use in RTA though, to be honest. Most people just build it as a very squishy one-shot unit that gets boosted by CR pushers. PvE, like I said, only really used in Golem, but no one really ever farms Golem, to be honest. So yeah, you don't really use her too much in PvE. So for Cermia, I'd say she's very niche, but she is very, very good in her niche. So if you really want a single target nuker, and you have enough for the Summertime Iseria banner coming up, go ahead and pull for her. She's very fun to use, very strong in Guild Wars offense. So if you're struggling in Guild Wars offense and have an ALOTS built, then yeah, she might be the perfect unit for you. So yeah, now to go on for her artifact, Border Coin. So Border Coin's only really ever used on 2 units. It's going to be used on Cermia because of her S2 and S3 combo, and then also ML Kawazu because of the same reason, because of his S2, S3 combo. Now, if you're pulling for Cermia and really want her, you might want to buy this from the powder shop. Otherwise, I don't really recommend buying it. Also, if you are trading in your ML Leo for Inferno Kawazu or ML Kawazu, and you plan to use him a lot, you might want to buy Border Coin as well, because they're both very strong on him. But, not both very strong. That artifact is strong on both of them. But the thing is, you can actually use other artifacts in Border Coin's place and do just fine. Like you can run like Portrait or Exorcist Tonfa or Symbol of Unity, and you'll be fine on both Cermia and ML Kawazu. So it is not a must pull, but if you are pulling Cermia and you are going to be swapping for ML Kawazu or already have him and are looking for an artifact, Border Coin is fine. Just make sure you have enough for Summertime Iseria's artifact, because it is a limited artifact as well, and you want to buy it for sure. And it seems pretty decent if you are planning to use Summertime Iseria. So yeah, that's pretty much it for my review on the 2 upcoming banners, Baal and Sezan and Cermia, and if you guys should pull or not, as well as their artifacts, the last Teatime and Border Coin. I really hope this video helped you guys, and you guys can understand if you guys need to pull them or not, and if you guys want to pull them or not, go for it. Just keep in mind, if you like their units design, or you like their animations, or their waifu or husbando or whatever, just pull for it. You won't regret it. It's more better to pull units that you like than units that are meta. Thanks for watching, guys, and as always, if you like, comment, and subscribe, it really helps my channel out a lot, and I will be back with another video soon.